Good morning, students. Today, I'll be starting with a chapter called Surface Chemistry. So, Unit 5 under Physical Chemistry. In the beginning, I will go slow. You have to understand, the lot of new concept and terminology in this chapter. I will be bit slow in the beginning. Please follow me very carefully, and so that you can understand all the concept, so that you could be able to apply to the practical applications. So this, the surface chemistry is a very interesting branch of chemistry. This, the surface chemistry has a lot of practical applications in industry, analytical chemistry, or in our daily life. That's why. So these, the surface chemistry, mainly three subtopics has been covered. One is the adsorption, catalysis, and colloidal state. So these three subtopics are covered under the surface chemistry. So I will go step by step. You please follow me very carefully. First, I will define what is meant by the surface chemistry. Now, surface chemistry is a branch of chemistry which deals with the nature of surface available, and the reaction occurring on the surface is the main study of the surface chemistry. So the nature of surface available, the reaction occurring on the surface. So this phenomenon can be put into a lot of the practical application. That branch of chemistry is called surface chemistry. But surface chemistry is a branch of chemistry which mainly deals with the nature of surface available, and the types of reaction occurring on the surface is the main subject matter of the surface chemistry. As I told you earlier, surface chemistry are going to include three. So one is the adsorption, heterogeneous catalysis, and colloidal states are coming under the surface chemistry. In lecture 1 today, I will start with the adsorption. Adsorption, it is a surface phenomenon. Adsorption means mainly we take the solid substance. On the surface of which we are going to adsorb the liquid molecules or gaseous molecules. So adsorption can be defined as the process of accumulation of molecules of gases or molecules of liquid on the surface of the solid is called the adsorption, and this adsorption is a surface phenomenon. So this adsorption, so actually you take any solid substance, it may be a number of the charcoal, animal charcoal, activated charcoal, so Fuller's earth, number of the solid substances are used, and this the molecules of liquid or molecules of gas accumulates on the solid surface is called the adsorption. So in this the adsorption chapter, first I will introduce the two terms. One is the adsorbent and adsorbate. So these two terms, adsorbent and adsorbates, are extensively used in this chapter. Without confusion, you have to understand what is adsorbent and what is adsorbate. Adsorbent means any solid substance on the surface of the adsorption occurs is called the adsorbent. I told you number of solid substances like the activated charcoal, silica, even Fuller's earth, even the D block elements, they are all used as the adsorbent, any solid substance. So briefly you can say any solid substance on the surface of which adsorption occurs is called the adsorbent. And the molecules, so the molecules, they may be gaseous molecules or they may be liquid molecules, they accumulates on the surface is called the adsorbate. Look at the diagram, again simple diagram. So this is, I will take this is a charcoal. Now charcoal is a adsorbent. So this is a solid substance on the surface of which the adsorption occurs is called the adsorbent. So this charcoal has got the capacity to adsorb number of molecules like carbon monoxide, arsenic oxide, hydrogen sulfide. So the molecules accumulates on the solid surface is called the adsorbate. Adsorbent and adsorbate. Any solid substance on the surface of which adsorption occurs is called the adsorbent. The molecules that are getting adsorbed is called the adsorbent. So here also, suppose we take the activated charcoal, so this is adsorbent. Suppose it absorbs the carbon monoxide molecule, so this carbon monoxide molecule is called the adsorbent. So these two terms, so without the confusion, you could be able to apply whenever it comes. I am going to use the word adsorbent and adsorbate. Adsorbent is, remember, any solid substance. So on the surface of which the adsorption takes place is called the adsorbent. The molecules that are getting adsorbed is called the adsorbate. Now taking the activated charcoal has a tendency to absorb number of the gaseous molecules like chlorine, ammonia, cyanogen, carbon monoxide. Here charcoal acts as an adsorbent and gaseous molecules acts as the adsorbate. I defined adsorption is a surface property. Accumulation of the molecules of liquid or molecules of gas on the surface is called the adsorption. Adsorption, there are two terms, adsorbent and adsorbate. Any solid substance on the surface of which the adsorption takes place is called the adsorbent. The molecules that are getting adsorbed is called the adsorbate. And I will introduce, so look at this number of example I given. So the charcoal I have taken, the charcoal has got the capacity to adsorb chlorine, ammonia, sulfur dioxide. So this charcoal is the adsorbent. So these gaseous molecules are they are called the adsorbate. See, the color impurity. So actually, we are going in this present summer. You go for a drinking a sugarcane juice. Do you know what is the color of the sugarcane juice? It is yellowish brown. See, look at the raw material. So there is a number of coloring impurity. By putting a charcoal, so the whole coloring impurities are adsorbed. This is a process of adsorption. So where charcoal is adsorbent and the coloring impurities are there called the adsorbate. Number of organic dyes like methylene blue is adsorbed by the animal charcoal. So some of the example for the adsorbent and the adsorbate. I will introduce some more terms. I am going to use the word called the desorption. I told adsorption. Then what is desorption? So desorption means the molecules are accumulated on the surface, so that we can make these molecules leave the surface. The process of leaving the surface of these molecules adsorbed is called the desorption. We can make the molecules leave the surface, and that is called the desorption. Adsorption takes place by altering some of the parameters like temperature, pressure. We can make the molecules leave the surface, and that is called the desorption. We are going to use this word also, adsorption and desorption. Adsorption, the molecules accumulate on the solid substance. Desorption means the molecules leave the surface again. It is called the desorption. One more important term is called the sorption. So what is meant by the sorption? Sorption means if both, in some case, both adsorption and absorption takes place simultaneously, and that is called the sorption. So simple example of sorption: you take a piece of chalk, you put a drop of ink. Whatever ink contains the carbon particles, say they are adsorbed on the surface, but solvent percolates into the chalk piece. So this is the best example for the sorption, where both adsorption and absorption occurs. When in a piece of chalk dipped in ink particles are adsorbed and solvent molecules will be absorbed. So dyes are adsorbed. So suppose you are doing the dyeing of the textile fiber. So dyes will be adsorbed on the surface and also percolates into in the bulk of the fabric. So this is example of the sorption. Now charcoal has got the capacity to absorb both hydrogen gas, and this process is called the sorption. Adsorption is the accumulation of molecules on the surface, and we can make the molecules leave the surface is called the desorption. If both adsorption and absorption occurs simultaneously, it is called the desorption. Then, so this adsorption, and very common terms, we come up with the absorption. I will define this. We discussed adsorption, desorption, sorption. They are all the surface property. Then what is the the absorption? This is called ABSORPTION, absorption. Simple example is you take the sponge, you put it into the water. What happens? It absorbs water. Or you take a piece of chalk, you put it into the glass of water, it absorbs water. How the process takes place? The process takes place uniformly throughout the body of the substance. It is called the absorption. Adsorption is a bulk property, it is not a surface property. But adsorption only accumulates on the surface, is a surface property, surface phenomenon. But absorption is a bulk phenomenon. So the molecules percolates into the substance, that is called the absorption. So look at this. Look at these diagrams. I will again differentiate one by one. Look at this adsorption I have taken here. Adsorption is a surface property. The molecules are accumulated only on the surface of the solid substance. Is called the adsorption. Look at this. Say take a piece of charcoal I have taken. Here gaseous molecules are adsorbed only at the surface. So this we call the adsorption. See what is the absorption? You can look at the absorption. There is no molecules on the surface, all the molecules enter into the bulk is a bulk property. The process takes place uniformly throughout the substance, it's called the absorption. Look at the sorption. Both adsorption and absorption takes place. Some molecules are accumulated on the surface, this is adsorption. Molecules are percolated into the bulk of the system, is called the sorption. I explained all this, you can see diagrammatically. Adsorption is a surface property, taking place only on the surface. Absorption is a bulk property, taking place in the interior of the substance. But the sorption, both adsorption and absorption occurs, it is called the sorption. But I differentiated adsorption, absorption and the sorption. Now, I will give you what are the important differences between the adsorption and the absorption. I will explain so with this diagram, I will explain the differences between the adsorption and the absorption. So, I have taken a simple example. So, in the adsorption, so I have taken this is a silica gel. A silica gel has been placed in the environment of moisture. I have taken a vessel moisture, I place a silica gel here. So, I have taken anhydrous calcium chloride not kept in the moisture. So, with this I will give you differences between the adsorption and the absorption. See, as I told you, adsorption is only the surface property. So, moisture molecules accumulates only on the surface. We call it the adsorption. Absorption, we can see the moisture molecules percolates into the body of the substance. It's called the absorption. It's a surface property. Adsorption is the bulk property. And the most important part will be, so this adsorption is an exothermic process. But you have to go to thermochemistry. So exothermic means heat is liberated. Why adsorption involves the evolution of heat, adsorption. Look at this, the adsorption. So whenever the adsorption occurs, the residual energy decreases on the surface, because every surface has got unbalanced force of attraction. So the chemical bonds, electrons will be there. So we call it unbalanced force of attraction. Whenever the adsorption occurs, the surface energy decreases on the surface. As you know, the principle of conservation of energy can either be created nor be destroyed. But one form of energy can be converted to another form of energy. Here so this surface has got some energy. So due to adsorption, the surface energy decreases. Then what happens? Remaining amount of energy. The remaining amount of energy appears in the form of heat. Therefore, heat is liberated in the adsorption. Adsorption is an exothermic process, and heat is liberated. So mainly, why the adsorption is exothermic reaction? Because due to adsorption, so the residual force decreases, or the surface energy decreases. So when the surface energy decreases, what is the remaining amount of energy? As per the principle of conservation of energy, the remaining amount of energy appears in the form of heat. Therefore, the process of adsorption is an exothermic process. Heat is liberated. But absorption, so no heat is liberated. So no change in the residual forces here. That's why does not involve the liberation of heat is not an exothermic reaction. And this in the adsorption, so mainly depends upon the temperature and the pressure. Temperature and pressure can affect the process of adsorption, but absorption is independent of the temperature and the pressure. Another important is this the adsorption. So this is the mainly depends upon the surface area, not on the mass. So this property does not depend upon the mass, only depends upon the surface area. But this absorption depends upon the mass, not on the surface area. Very important differences between the adsorption and the absorption. I show you diagrammatically. So this adsorption, look at this. Adsorption is a surface property. It's a bulk property. Adsorption is exothermic reaction. Absorption is not an exothermic reaction. So this adsorption depends upon the temperature and pressure, independent of temperature and the pressure. So this adsorption mainly depends upon the surface area, not on the mass. But the absorption depends upon the mass, but not on the surface area. Look at this, I can show you one by one again. For the absorption difference is a surface phenomenon, it is a bulk phenomenon, exothermic process, not an exothermic process. Adsorption depends upon the temperature and pressure, but is independent of temperature and pressure. So the extent of adsorption depends upon the surface area rather than the mass of the adsorbent. Here the extent of absorption depends upon the mass, so rather than the surface area. No difference between the adsorption and the absorption. So look at this. I will take up the thermodynamics of adsorption. So again, you have to go back to first PUC. Lot of concept is carrying forward from your first PUC. In first PUC, I hope you have studied the entropy, enthalpy, and the free energy. And the Gibbs free energy equation. Look at the fixed Gibbs free energy is equal to delta G, which is equal to delta G is equal to delta H minus T into delta X. Delta G is called the free energy, or this is the enthalpy and the entropy. I am not going to discuss in detail, just the meaning of this terminology. So delta S is called the entropy. It denotes the randomness of the system or the disorderedness of the system, entropy. And then the enthalpy, amount of heat evolved or absorbed. And then the free energy, amount of energy available for the conversion of the energy into work. Free energy, available energy, which can be converted to useful work. And this Gibbs free energy. Using this Gibbs free energy, you have studied in first PUC. What the feasibility of a chemical reaction. So by the sign of delta G, we can know the feasibility of the chemical reaction. Suppose delta G is negative, the reaction was going to be spontaneous. Spontaneous means the process takes place on its own without the help of any external agency. If delta G is equal to 0, then the process is in equilibrium. Delta G is positive, is a non-spontaneous, a reverse reaction is feasible. That all you have studied in first PUC. Assuming that you know the Gibbs free energy, I will apply this thermodynamics to the adsorption. My point is adsorption to be made spontaneous. In industrial application point of view, how to study the adsorption is to make the process the spontaneous. Or at what stage adsorption is in equilibrium. So you can use this the Gibbs free energy equation, delta G is equal to delta H minus T into delta S. I told you, so this the adsorption is an exothermic reaction. I told you the residual energy decreases, so the remaining amount of energy converted into the heat. So that's called exothermic. The heat is liberated. This is the the exothermic means delta H is negative. So during adsorption, so before adsorption there is more disorderliness. When the adsorption takes place, there is a state of order, means entropy decreases. So during the adsorption, the entropy decreases. So this one minus delta S. What is exothermic reaction? What the entropy decreases minus delta S. Not a minus into minus plus, so delta H plus T into delta S. So this is the, so you can apply this Gibbs equation. Now under what condition? So this adsorption becomes the spontaneous. Or adsorption to become spontaneous, delta G should be negative. How do you get delta G negative? Look at this equation and tell me. So this is if delta H is greater than T into delta S. Suppose this value is greater than, so T into delta S. So delta G is negative. The process is spontaneous. These are very common multiple choice questions in all national competitive examination for a spontaneous reaction. So delta G should be negative. When it becomes negative, so delta H is greater than T into delta S. Then delta G becomes negative. The process is spontaneous. Or the process will be spontaneous, delta G should be negative, delta H should be negative, and delta S should be negative. Then under that condition, so delta H will become greater than T into delta S, delta G is negative, and the process is spontaneous. No doubt in the beginning, so this entropy, so the entropy decreases. What happens? Adsorption takes place, then desorption takes place automatically. When the desorption takes place, so the entropy increases. As the entropy increases, so this enthalpy decreases. After some time, so this delta H and T delta S becomes equal and delta G becomes equal to 0. We can say the process in equilibrium. We can study the equilibrium state. When the adsorption is equilibrium, if delta H is equal to T into delta S, so then the delta G becomes equal to 0. The process is in equilibrium. So this is the application of the Gibbs energy equation to the process of adsorption. Adsorption is a surface phenomenon. Accumulation of the surface. It's an exothermic reaction. By using the Gibbs equation, how we can make the spontaneity, how to know the process in equilibrium, that can be studied with the help of the Gibbs free equation. I repeat again, but delta G should be negative for the spontaneous. In such case, delta H should be greater than T into delta S. Delta H is greater than T into delta S. Then delta G will become negative because delta H is greater, it will become negative. The process is spontaneous. At some stage, so the desorption occurs, means the entropy increases, the enthalpy decreases. At some stage, these two will become equal, delta G becomes equal to 0, the process is in equilibrium. We can apply so the concept of thermodynamics to the adsorption, and we can study the feasibility of the adsorption using the Gibbs free energy equation. Okay, friends? I will proceed further. We are coming to one more term called enthalpy of adsorption. So what is just like the enthalpy of formation, enthalpy of combustion, enthalpy of neutralization, you study in thermochemistry. So this is the enthalpy of adsorption. It is the amount of heat evolved when 1 mole of the substance is absorbed by the solid substance is called the enthalpy of adsorption. In thermochemistry, we define number of definitions. But enthalpy of adsorption, it is the amount of heat evolved when 1 mole of the substance is getting absorbed on the solid substance is called the enthalpy of the adsorption. Because I am going to use the word of the enthalpy of adsorption. Instead of say exothermic or endothermic, I will use the word of the enthalpy of the adsorption. Then I will come to the types of adsorption. So the adsorptions are classified into 2 types. One is physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. Physical adsorption is called the physisorption. So chemical adsorption is called the chemisorption. What are the differences between these physical adsorption and chemical adsorption? Very important concept to know. I will discuss these, the differences. So I will take up the differences between the physical adsorption and the chemical adsorption. Look at these differences. So this, the physical adsorption means, the molecules of liquid or molecules of gas accumulates on the solid surface. How they accumulates? What is the binding force? Binding force is the van der Waals force of attraction. Absorption takes place on the surface because of weak van der Waals force of attraction is called the physical absorption. Only physical forces are operating. So the molecules accumulates on the solid substance only by simple force of intermolecular force of attraction called the weak van der Waals force of attraction. But not different in the case of chemical absorption. There is a chemical bond formation between the absorbent and the adsorbate. So here this is highly specific. So this is the chemical absorption. Molecules accumulates on the solid surface where it involves the formation of a chemical bond and is called chemical absorption or the chemisorption. So this van der Waals force of attraction is a weak force of attraction. It involves only so small amount of heat is liberated, means low enthalpy of absorption. Physical absorption involves the low enthalpy of absorption of 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole of heat is liberated with the physical absorption. Physical absorption has got the low enthalpy because weak van der Waals force of attraction. A small amount of heat, about 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole of energy is liberated in the physical absorption. But chemical absorption, strong chemical forces or strong chemical bonds are formed, covalent bonds may be formed. Due to the chemical bond formation, it involves high enthalpy formation, about 80 to 240 kilojoule per mole of heat will be liberated. So this physical absorption involves the multi-molecular layer. Look at this. This is a solid substance. One layer molecules will be absorbed, over which again another molecules will be absorbed, over which again another molecule may be absorbed. It's a multi-layer formation. It's because it's a simple intermolecular force of attraction. Simply a molecule accumulation and the another molecule. Because of this, so the multi-layers are formed in the physical absorption. But chemical absorption involves only the monomolecular layer because on the surface, so chemical bonds are formed. When the chemical bonds are formed, only one layer is possible. It involves the formation of a monomolecular layer. And physical absorption is not specific in nature. So take the charcoal. Charcoal can absorb carbon monoxide molecules, arsenic oxide molecules. So the number of molecules like ammonia, sulfur dioxide is not specific reaction. Simply intermolecular force of attraction, any molecules can come and accumulate on the solid surface. Is not specific in nature. Simple example: you take a metal piece, rub it with your hand, and keep a small piece of paper. You might have worked in a rose. You wrote on the papers. All the paper will getting contracted. Not specific, simply intermolecular force of attraction is the physical absorption. But chemical absorption is highly specific. So this chemical absorption occurs only if there is a possibility of a chemical bond formation between the absorbent and adsorbate. Between the absorbent and adsorbate, there is a formation of a chemical bond. Then only the chemisorption occurs. And physical absorption mainly takes place at low temperature. As the temperature increases, so the physical absorption decreases. But chemical absorption, because chemical bonds require energy for the formation, it occurs usually at high temperature. It is required for the formation of the chemical chemisorption. So this physical absorption is the reversible. The molecules are absorbed on the surface, and again they can leave the surface. As say chlorine molecules are absorbed, again the chlorine molecules can leave the surface. It is the reversible. But chemisorption is irreversible because the chemical bonds are formed on the surface. They combine to form the compound, then the compound may leave the surface. But as a reactant itself, they cannot leave the surface. They is irreversible. So the chemisorption is the irreversible. So these are the important differences between the physical adsorption and the chemical adsorption. Dear students, I will again repeat once again the physical adsorption. So the binding force between the adsorbent and adsorbate is only weak van der Waals force of attraction. Physisorption, physical adsorption. Chemisorption and chemical bonds are formed between the adsorbent and the adsorbate. Some it may be mainly covalent bonds are formed between the adsorbent and the adsorbate. Since weak binding force has got low enthalpy of adsorption, about 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole of energy heat will be liberated to the physical adsorption. So since the strong binding force, so it has high enthalpy of adsorption, about 80 to 240 kilojoule per mole of heat will be liberated in the chemical adsorption. So it forms multi-molecular layer. It is not specific in nature. Any molecule can accumulate on the other molecule. It involves the formation of multi-molecular layer. Since chemical bonds are formed, it involves only the formation of monomolecular layer. It is not specific in nature. Any molecules can accumulate over another molecule in the form of multi-molecular layer. Not specific. But chemisorption is highly specific. It is possible only if there is a chemical bond formation between the adsorbent and the adsorbate. So physical adsorption mainly occurs at low temperature. As the temperature increases, the physical adsorption decreases. But chemical bond formation requires energy, it usually takes place at high temperature. So this physical adsorption is reversible. The molecules are adsorbed and desorption takes place. but here the irreversible. The molecules cannot leave the surface as it is in the same form. It is the, so M's option is irreversible. Differences between physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. Now adsorption here defined. Two types of adsorption: physical adsorption, chemical adsorption. What are the important differences between the physical adsorption and the chemical adsorption? Shall we continue?
Continuous.
Look, friends, I am going to take the adsorption of gases on solids. This is a most industrial application. You are going to study the gaseous molecules as adsorbate and adsorbent as the solid. I have taken the adsorption of gases on the solids. Adsorption of gases on solids. Then I have taken the adsorption of liquids on solids. First I will consider the adsorption of gaseous molecules on solids. See, the adsorbent is solid, adsorbent is gas molecule. So the extent of adsorption of gas molecules on the solid surface mainly depends upon these factors. One is the nature of adsorbate, nature of adsorbent, temperature, pressure and activation of the adsorbent. Very, very important study, and you have to apply some of the physical concepts also here, and mathematical approach will be there. I will discuss one by one. Now the adsorption of gases on the solid depends upon the nature of adsorbate. Look at this, the nature of adsorbent. Look at this slide. So the nature of adsorption, actually again I will go back to your first PUC and you have studied the gas laws. So the ideal gas, real gas. Ideal gas is one which obeys the Bayes law and Charles law. Real gas is one which cannot obey the Bayes law and Charles law. Now same thing I am applying in the form of critical temperature. So what is meant by a critical temperature? So critical temperature is a minimum temperature above which liquid cannot be, the gas cannot be liquefied. There is a Joule-Thomson effect that is beyond the scope of your study. So all the gases cannot be liquefied at any particular temperature and pressure. So only this minimum temperature above which the gas cannot be liquefied is called the critical temperature. So this critical temperature plays a major role in the adsorption of gases on the solids. Adsorption of gases on the solids depend upon the nature of gases. So I take up the two types of gases. One is the gases which can be easily liquefied, and the gases which cannot be not easily liquefiable. I will take the example of nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen. They are part of the real gases. So these gases cannot be easily liquefied because they got low critical temperature, low van der Waals force of attraction. The molecules like sulfur dioxide, ammonia, HCl, BJ, so they can be easily liquefied. They got high critical temperature. They got more of the force of attraction. That is so adsorption of gases. So mainly depends upon the nature of gases. The gases which have got the low critical temperature, they cannot be easily absorbed. The gases which have got high critical temperature, they can be more easily absorbed. You got a simple example I given. With example of critical temperature. So I will take a charcoal. I will take unit mass of the charcoal. I will take acetic acid absorbent. You can measure the absorption property for hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon monoxide, methane. Look at the critical temperature. For this 33, 120, 60, the critical temperature will keep on increases. See, the absorption will keep on increases. That means the lower the critical temperature, lower is the absorption. Higher the critical temperature, higher is the absorption. Absorption mainly depends upon the nature of gases. The gases which have got low critical temperature, say hydrogen has got low critical temperature, only 4.5 ml is absorbed. So this is a particular temperature. So sulfur dioxide has got high critical temperature, 430 degrees, so more easily absorbed. So therefore the absorption mainly depends upon the nature of gases. That the gases, so in general cases the gases which can be easily liquefiable, the gases which cannot be easily liquefiable, the gases which can be easily liquefiable, like nitrogen, so which cannot be easily liquefiable, got the low critical temperature like nitrogen, hydrogen, the gas cannot be easily liquefiable, they are less easily absorbed. But these gases, they are more easily liquefiable, they got more critical temperature, so more easily absorbed and more easily liquefied. So again, the critical temperature, see the critical temperature will keep on increases as I show. Increase in critical temperature, but ease of liquefaction. As critical temperature increases, so the liquefaction also the keep on increases. As the critical temperature increases, but absorption also increases. It's a very, very common IQ level question in most of the national company examination. You will give the two gases, which gas is more easily absorbed. You will give the critical temperature. You must know lesser the critical temperature, lesser is the absorption. More the critical temperature, more is the absorption. We can relate this, we can choose any right answer in the examination. So this is the absorption depends upon the nature of the adsorbent. And nature of the adsorbent. Adsorbent means I gave the number of examples. Yes, adsorbent starting from charcoal, animal charcoal, activated charcoal, fuller's earth, even D block elements like iron, cobalt, nickel. They are all used as the adsorbents. So this adsorption property mainly depends upon the surface area. So more the surface area, more will be the capacity of adsorption. You have to design the solid in such a way there will be more surface area. If you made the surface, more the surface area is available, more will be the extent of adsorption. Therefore, the adsorption depends upon the nature of adsorbent. So different adsorbent has got different surface area. Larger the surface area, so greater will be the extent of adsorption. Adsorption mainly depends upon the surface area of the adsorbent. How to increase the surface area, I will take up the later. Now temperature, I told you. So the physical adsorption, look at the graph, physical adsorption, chemical adsorption. I have taken X by M. X is the amount of the substance absorbed per unit mass of the adsorbent. X is the amount of the substance absorbed per unit mass of the adsorbent. I say per extent of adsorption. So the extent of adsorption is the temperature. For physical adsorption, so the extent of absorption is high at low temperature. As temperature increases, the extent of absorption decreases. This is physical adsorption. Physical adsorption, they are very common multiple choice questions. Physical adsorption is maximum at low temperature. When temperature increases, the physical adsorption of the keep on increases. Look at the chemical adsorption. So this chemical, the extent of adsorption against temperature for chemical adsorption increases with increase in temperature and hence a maximum value. If you go for the high temperature, this chemical absorption also decreases. Why this property is due to the study energy of activation. We have studied already the compared chemical kinetics. What is energy of activation? Every chemical requires a minimum energy to cause effective collision. So to attain that activation energy, the chemical absorption will keep on increasing up to a certain temperature. But beyond the temperature, the chemical absorption also increases because this is the energy of activation. It is very chemical reaction because chemical absorption involves the formation of chemical part. So activation energy has to be supplied. That's why so the extent of absorption increases up to a certain temperature till it attains the energy of activation. After this again the chemical absorption also decreases. So that is the absorption based on the effect of the temperature. Look at the diagram. So the physical absorption. So this is 200 Kelvin and 240 Kelvin, 273 Kelvin. As the temperature increases, so the absorption increases. Look at the graph. As the temperature increases, so the absorption will be decreases. It is low, so the absorption, temperature increases, the absorption will be decreases. Same thing can happen. 195 Kelvin, 244 Kelvin, 273 Kelvin. As the temperature increases, the physical absorption will be decreases. Low or high temperature, if you increase the temperature, the physical absorption will be decreased. Only for chemical absorption, it keep on increases till attains the energy of activation. When the energy of activation has been attained, so further increase in temperature will decreases the extent of absorption. So the most important is the mathematical approach to the process of adsorption. So effect of pressure on the adsorption. Look at this graph, very interesting graph. So I have taken note, this is the extent of adsorption, X by M taken, is plotted against pressure at constant temperature. Is called the adsorption isotope. I kept the temperature constant. The extent of adsorption is measured with increase in the pressure. You see, so the extent of adsorption keep on increases up to a certain pressure. At some pressure, this curve will become almost parallel to the x-axis. So this is the nature of the curve. Okay. So how this? So this is a lot of information is obtained by this curve. Look at this. So I will take note this curve. I will classify the curve into three types. One is this is the low pressure curve. Okay. From this point I will take low pressure. I will take a low pressure. I will take after this I will take high pressure. I will take this as the intermediate pressure. Okay. Look at this the low pressure. Look at the curve. So this is the extent of adsorption is plotted against the pressure. The curve is almost linear, passing through the origin. Curve is almost linear, passing through the origin. What this indicates? It indicates the extent of adsorption is directly proportional to pressure. It's very interesting the mathematical observation. In a very graph is drawn. So the extent of adsorption is the pressure. This is up low pressure. Almost a straightened curve is obtained. If you extended will get a straight line that passes through the origin. That shows how the proportional extent of absorption is directly proportional to the pressure. You can say at low pressure, I will put here at low pressure. At low pressure, the extent of absorption is directly proportional to pressure. Up to a certain pressure, now I'll give the value 1. Up to a pressure, but I'll give the value as 1. Arbitrary pressure 1. Or this is the extent of absorption is equal to K into P to the power 1 by T. At low pressure, the extent of absorption is directly proportional to pressure. So these are low pressure. I will take at high pressure, I will take. At high pressure. Look at this high pressure. At high pressure, almost the curve is the parallel to the x-axis. That is the extent of absorption is no effect on the pressure at high pressure. Therefore, I will put this as the extent of absorption x by m is directly proportional to pressure and is independent of pressure. I will give the 0 value. The pressure has no effect, is independent of pressure. I will give the value of 0, p to the power 0. Extent of absorption is equal to k into p to the power of 0. P to the power of 0 is 1, k is constant. We can say x by m is equal to the constant. So this graph shows the extent of absorption is constant high pressure. So pressure has no effect on the absorption. So up to this pressure I give the 1 value. I give the 0 value. Is independent of pressure. So they will be proportional to low pressure. 1 I given. Then what is the extent of absorption at the intermediate pressure? At the intermediate pressure, it is right now very interestingly at intermediate pressure. At intermediate pressure. At intermediate pressure, so the extent of absorption is directly proportional to P. So what is the P value can take? So this is the up to this point I get 1 value. Here again 0 value. What is this value in between? It can take any value between 0 and 1. At intermediate pressure, extent of absorption can take any value between 0 and 1. What is meant by 0, 1 is a fraction, So this I put mathematically upon 1 upon n. So this n can take any integer value. Therefore, you can say x by m is equal to k into p to the power of 1. So this equation is called the Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Is called the Freundlich adsorption. Freundlich adsorption isotherm. It is effect of pressure on the adsorption process. If measure the adsorption against pressure at constant temperature, we can get a curve like this, So this keep on increases and remains constant. This the curve become almost parallel to x-axis. So this are taken into two regions. Low pressure region are taken, high pressure, intermediate pressure. So the extent of absorption is directly proportional to certain pressure. P power 1 diagonal. So the extent of absorption directly proportional. This is the directly proportional to pressure. Pressure is independent of pressure. I given not 0 value. So in between, what is the extent of absorption can take any value between 0 and 1. Therefore, I define mathematically x by m directly proportional to p to the power of 1 by m. So this can take any value between 0 and 1. So therefore, remove the proportionality. K to p to the 1 by m is called the Freundlich adsorption isotherm. And what Freundlich just did, how to calculate the value of m. So n can take any value. How to get the constant value? So for that, what the Freundlich just did, I will take log for this equation both the sides. So this I will take log x by n. What is called a log k plus x to the power of n 1 by n log. So this equation for a straight line, I will play, I will plot log x by m. I will plot log x by m against log p. Log p. When a straight line is obtained, we take the slope of this curve. So the slope will give you the value of 1 by m. The slope will give you the value of 1 by m. Slope will give you the value of 1 by m. And this intercept will give you the value of k. So this intercept will give you the value of log k. But Freundlich has determined the value of k and n by this one the graphical method. By this, this is called the Freundlich adsorption. So again, look at this diagram. I shown here, I take it up to low pressure. Extent of absorption is directly proportional to P. Up to pressure P, I give the value 1, P to the power of 1. Some low pressure, you can get the value 1, low pressure. So at the high pressure, So this is independent of pressure. This curve is almost parallel to x-axis. So the p to the power of 0 is independent of pressure. So this is again 0 value or 1 value. In between, what is the pressure can take? The pressure can take any value between 0 and 1. Is nothing but a fraction of 1 upon n. So this is called Freundlich adsorption isotherm. X by m is equal to k into p to the power of 1 by n. To get the value of n and k value, we can take log on this equation. You can take this. So the Freundlich adsorption isotherm I shown here. But this is at low pressure, the extent of adsorption directly proportional to P. I given the value 1, P to the power of 1, K is constant. At high pressure is independent of pressure, or again the 0 value, K into P to the power of 0, P to the 0 is 1, K is constant, but X by M become constant. At high pressure, the extent of adsorption is constant. Then at intermediate pressure, so this pressure can take any value between 0 and 1. Therefore, X by M is proportional to P to the power of 1 by n. So this equation is called the Freundlich adsorption, where n is greater than 1, or can take any integer value. So it is called Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So get the value of n. He has taken the log for this equation, log x by m, log k, 1 by n, log p. This equation for the straight line is already. So log x by m is particular as log p. We get a straight line. So this, the slope will give the value of 1 by n. Intercept value will give the log of k. So line number has calculated the value of k and n value by the graphical method. So this, the limitation of this Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So this, the Freundlich adsorption term has no theoretical basis, simply an empirical basis. Based on experimental data, he has given the equation. And the value of K and N are also found to be varies with temperature. So this value only over a range of pressure, cannot be applied for a high pressure. Some of the limitations of the Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So Freundlich has given a mathematical equation. So this is the Freundlich equation is given. The x by m is proportional to p to the power of 1 by n, or k into p to the power of n is only an empirical formula. No theoretical basis for this equation. But experimentally, yes, the correlated this equation. This empirical equation without any the theory supporting this equation. And you measure the value of, this constant k value and n value is measured, and this value depends upon the nature of absorbent and the adsorbate, and as calculated from the mathematical equation. There is only empirical, no theoretical basis. The value of k and n varies with temperature, only applies only over a range of pressure. Okay, dear students, so far we discussed the adsorption of gases on solids. Now we will switch on to adsorption of liquids on solids. So in the beginning I given the two examples. One is the sugar cane juice. Sugar cane juice has got a yellowish brown in color. Or what is the color of the sugar? Is purely the colorless. We can remove the coloring impurity by the adsorption process. Or in vegetable oil, if you go to the market, you will purchase the refined oil. How the refined oil? It is a colorless, odorless, tasteless. So because any natural substance oil is obtained from seeds, when seeds cause a lot of coloring impurities will be there, they are removed by the adsorption. Some such examples will coming under the adsorption of solution phases or adsorption of liquids on the solids. Some of the example I have given for the adsorption liquids. And what are the characteristics we studied for the adsorption of gases on solid also become applicable to the adsorption liquids and solids. We studied the number of the factors. All the factors become applicable to the adsorption of the liquids on the solid surface. One thing is you have replaced the pressure by the concentration. In the case of gaseous reaction, you have taken the pressure, the same, so the Freundlich has given the equation, Freundlich adsorption isotherm. I am going to replace the Freundlich equation, pressure term by the concentration. So the Freundlich is given by, this is we can say, this x by m is equal to k into c to the power of 1 by n. The pressure has been used there in the adsorption of gases on solid. If you take the liquid, we will see is the equilibrium concentration. All the factors become applicable, become valid for the absorption liquids and solid also, except the pressure has been replaced by the concentration term for the adsorption liquids and solid. So the same Freundlich equation is written as x by m is extent of adsorption is equal to k is constant, c is the equilibrium concentration to the power 1 by n, or this the n can take any value between the 0 and 1. Again, as usual, you can take the log on both sides. You will get log x by m, log k plus 1 by n not log c. So, this equation for a straight line, plot log x by m against log t, again we will get a straight line. So, this is the slope will give the value of 1 by n, intercept will give the log k. Everything is constantly same. Only the pressure term has been replaced by the concentration form. For liquids, expressed in terms of molar concentration. For gaseous, we express in terms of the pressure. The pressure can be replaced by the concentration. The same equation can be used for the adsorption of liquids on the solid substances. Last is I given the number of the factors. I given so many factors. I hope now I will go back to this slide and show you the extent of adsorption. Because adsorption depends upon the nature of adsorbate. Nature of adsorbent we discussed, temperature we applied, pressure we applied, friendly adsorption is the term, but activation of the adsorbent. So, the adsorption also, the adsorption capacity can be increased by the activation of the adsorbent. As you know already, adsorption mainly depends upon the surface area. How to make the surface area larger? Larger the surface area, so more with the extent of adsorption. Number of adsorbents are used. I give the example of charcoal, activated charcoal, animal charcoal, Fuller's earth. So all even the D block elements that use as adsorbent. Then how to increase the surface area? Surface area can be increased by two methods. One is by using the rough surface. Imagine a smooth surface and a rough surface. If you use a rough surface, uneven surface, ups and downs will be there, some corners, cracks will be there in the rough surface, which gives the more surface area. By increasing more surface area, you can use the rough surface of the catalyst. Or finally dividing the solid substance. Suppose instead of using a small crystal, you make crystals into 100 pieces. More will be the surface area. By finally subdividing or using the rough surface, we can increase the capacity of the adsorption. And even the adsorption capacity of some metals can increase by suitable chemical treatment. Take the example of platinum. We mainly use an electrode. It is a very smooth surface where adsorption will not take place. We can do some chemical treatment. The platinum can be coated with a platinum black to make the surface rough. There will be adsorption takes place. By chemical treatment also, we can make increase the capacity of the adsorption. Especially the animal charcoal you take. So the capacity of adsorption can increase by superheating with a superheated steam. When the charcoal is heated with a superheated steam, all the volatile impurities on the surface are removed. You get a more porous and larger surface area, more will be the capacity of the adsorption. Adsorption capacity can be increased by certain methods. They are called the activation of the adsorbent. These are the factors on which adsorption of gases on solid depends, mainly nature of adsorbate. I told you it is the easy liquefiable gases, not easy liquefiable gases, like critical temperature, low critical temperature, high critical temperature. We discussed the nature of adsorbate. So, nature of adsorbent, I told you, larger the surface area, more the extent of adsorption. Temperature, I told, physical adsorption is low temperature. Increase in temperature or chemisorption requires energy of activation. It takes place high temperature. So, pressure we defined the Friendly's adsorption isotherm. We discussed the under pressure. So, number of methods can be employed to increase the adsorption capacity of the adsorbent is called the activation of the adsorbent. This all we discussed, Lastly, I will take up the application of the adsorption. See, anything the discovered will go for the application of the mankind industry. So, very fascinating application, this adsorption. This adsorption is mainly used in the production of high vacuum. See how we prepare a vacuum? We take a vacuum pump, you suck the air inside, and there we can create a vacuum. Still, that contains small traces of air. High vacuum cannot be produced. We put some silica gel or anhydrous calcium chloride. It absorbs the last trace of water, and high vacuum can be produced. For all number of the experimental procedure, we require to create a high vacuum where the adsorption process is employed for the production of the high vacuum. In gas mask, especially gas masks used in the underground the mining. Because if you go to the underground mining, mainly it contains carbon monoxide, methane, and spices gases. Workmen going to the mining, they wear a mask. What that mask contain? Mask contains the activated charcoal, it absorbs the poisonous gases, therefore we can take some safety the measures. Even nowadays you can see in the traffic police wear the mask. It contains activated charcoal because they are living in the traffic for 8 hours, where carbon monoxide emission, sulfur dioxide emission coming from the automobile exhaust. So what is the fate on their health, That's why they use gas mask to absorb the poisonous gases. To control humidity, humidity can be controlled. So humidity means to absorb the moisture. We can use silica gel is used to absorb the moisture and control the humidity. Removing coloring matter from this, I told you example of sugar cane juice. In the manufacture of cane sugar juice is having a colored pigment. By using the activated charcoal, they are going to coloring impurity, the sugar will be the colorless. Even the hydrogenation of oil, so oil extracted from the seeds contain a lot of coloring impurities. They are toxic to human beings. So those coloring impurities can be removed by the animal charcoal. Now, heterogeneous catalysis. See, the catalysts, they are widely used in industry. What for the catalysts are used in industry? Because they save time and energy. We can increase the rate of chemical reaction. In almost all industry, wide number of the catalysts are employed, and all the catalysts are work based on the adsorption property. Some of the example, in the manufacture ammonia by Haber process, iron is used as a catalyst. In the manufacture sulfuric acid by contact process, vanadium pentoxide is used as a catalyst. In the hydrogenation of oil, nickel is used as a catalyst. In almost all industry, there is some example. More number of example I will give in the catalysis chapter. In almost all industry, the catalysts are widely employed. All the heterogeneous catalysis comes under the adsorption property. Now, separation of the inert gases. So our atmosphere contain inert gases like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. So they are present in a tracer quantity, and these inert gases have got a wide the practical applications. As the neon used in the bulbs for give the different colors, is used for filling the air balloons. Number of applications are there for inert gases. How to separate this? The process of adsorption is employed. They are used. So coconut charcoal is used at differential temperature. Different the inert gases have got the capacity of adsorption at different temperature. Different chambers has been maintained at different temperature, and coconut charcoal is used, and these inert gases can be successfully separated. The process of adsorption is used in the separation of the inert gases. In curing disease, number of diseases can be cured by adsorption process. Even very commonly, I give the example of the snake biting. Snake biting, they give the silica gel into the body. It absorbs the poison of the carbon monoxide poison or arsenic oxide poison from the snake is used in curing the disease also. Some of the various applications of this the adsorption. So this completes the adsorption chapter in the surface chemistry. Next will be the topic will be catalysis. We are going to start in the another surface chemistry part is catalysis. I will take up in the next period. Today I am going to conclude the adsorption. I started the surface chemistry. I defined adsorption and the absorption, difference between the adsorption and the absorption I given. Two types of adsorption, physical adsorption and chemical adsorption I given. All the differences I given. And adsorption of gases mainly I have taken on the solid surface. Number of the factors depends like nature of the adsorbent, temperature, pressure, activation of the adsorbent. All we discussed in detail. And also the adsorption liquids can be taken as adsorption. Same pressure factor can be replaced by the concentration. Same French equation can be used on the applications of the adsorption. With this, I am going to conclude the adsorption chapter.